Hey everybody, it's Donna here, and we're continuing with the numbers. So just a reminder, this is about the number 5, and this is about if you're seeing 5 a lot, if you're seeing double 5s or triple 5s or even 4 5s. This is about paying attention to the numbers, paying attention to what's going on when you're seeing those numbers, paying attention to your feelings when you're seeing these numbers. And it's interesting because 5 always, so for a long time, I grew up with amazing girls around me, and they were Italian and Greek, and one of my Greek friends went to Greece for the summer and came back, and we missed her a lot because we were little kids. And she showed me this card game that somebody showed her, maybe her grandmother, but you do these cards and they tell you if boys like you. It's kind of like a fortune-telling game with regular card deck, which I still know how to do it. I saw her recently and she's like, you have to reteach me because I forgot how to do it. But anyway, 5 in that deck was 5 in both ways. She had 2 different games, and both times 5 was always about he either doesn't like you, he's not into you, stuff like that. So I always had this, like, in the back of my head, when I see triple 5s, I'm like, oh, like, what is this? It meant something. In my head, I was like, this has to be something negative. But as I've gotten older and as I've understood more about numerology, 5s are interesting because 5s are putting in the hard work. So it's like, you really want this new job. You just graduated college, you want this new job. You're like, I sent a resume, nobody liked it. Like, I sent another resume, no one liked it. 5s are about, you gotta get off of that and just put your nose to the grindstone and do the work. Do the work, do the work, do the work. It's about losing weight, right? So if you want a different size, you want to be a different body for whatever, like you want to fit into this certain outfit, you can't just wish or watch videos of people doing push-ups and sit-ups. You have to do the work, right? So this is everything about you doing the work. There's a little tiny bug. This is going to drive me crazy. Everything about doing the work yourself, okay? It's divine grace, and there's work to be done. That's how I think of this number. So it's kind of like, yeah, I'm excited about this opportunity, but there's a lot to do. So get excited and see the end result, see it in your head, even though it might be a little different at the end, but see the success, what you think of success is in this space, and get to work. It's important life lessons. It's God's grace. So a lot of times, I was just watching this thing. This man has been dead for a few years, and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm obsessed with Wayne Dyer. And he's always been around. I've just never watched his videos. And this week I've just been all over the Wayne Dyer bandwagon. But he talks about when you're really starting to get great at working on your intuition, you're going to get a big crash and burn. And it was 100% what happened to me. I was in corporate America for a million years and had my crash and burn here in the South, and I've been in the South for 10 years. And it was awful. Like, all the elements were awful. You can go to my website and hear the whole story because it gives you a little tidbit about how I got into this field full time. And and that was a 5 time. That was a time that if you told me that I was going to go through that, I'd be like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's just horrible. Who wants to go through that? But in our minds, it's worse than it really is. Like, you get through it, you meet new people, you meet more new people, you figure out who's going to stay in your life, not stay in your life. But it's God's grace, it's God's kindness, it's God saying, that's not working for you anymore. You're not listening to my whispers, and we're going to give you a bang. We're going to give you a bang because you're not paying attention, and these things need to change. For me, it's kind of like a watch out of what you're doing. So again, pay attention to what's going on in your mind when you see this number. Because say, for instance, and I mentioned this in another video, say I'm looking at this office space and I'm like, all right, there's something I just don't know. Like, it's nothing on paper. It looks great and the people are great that I'm sharing it with, but something just doesn't feel right. There's a watch out there. If you keep seeing 5s, it's like, trust your intuition. There's a watch out there. It's also contradictions. So pay attention to people who are saying one thing but then doing something else. People who are friends of yours that are saying they're supportive but they're not. That's a big one. It was also the 5th day God created life at sea and life of anything that flies. So all nature, all the birds, And so I love thinking about that because they bring me so much joy. So it's like finding the small joys in things, even when things are super tough, right? So through this whole coronavirus, and anytime you watch this video, it's going to be the perfect time for you, even though I'm filming it during the still going on coronavirus. But, you know, it's been a time of you can be really negative, and some days we're negative. Like, I'm not going to lie. It's been, you know, I have the same emotions I can know as much as I want, but I'm still a human and have all the emotions. So what has brought me a lot of joy is, you know, fish always do. I just thought this morning I want to get another aquarium. I just love fish. But birds, like, just go outside. There's so many. I'm in the South right now, and there's so many pretty birds. It's just really magical. But think of that when you're coming into these times. You have to find ways to get yourself in a good mood when things aren't really going your way or things seem like there's an uphill battle. You have to be the one to make yourself positive. No one's going to do it for you. And sometimes when people try to get me in a good mood and I'm in a bad mood, that makes it worse, you know. So it's really up to you. You know yourself. You need to figure out what's it going to take and what's going to keep you on track of staying in a positive vibe versus negative, because things can be negative around you, but if your vibe is high, things are going to start to shift in your life to work towards the good and the things that you're working towards. So hopefully this is helpful. This is number 5. Don't be scared. It's not as bad as I used to think. And yeah, the 5 meant in that little card game, it meant like, he's not into you, he likes someone else, he's just friends. Like, it was all like, and when you're a teenager, we were young, and I was like, what? I think he totally likes me. What do you mean? So I was always mad. The 5 used to get me mad. But 5 is actually pretty good, so don't be scared. Enjoy your 5s, and subscribe. It's one of these corners. And down below will be my information if you want a private session. And let me know if you have any questions. Bye. Thanks for watching.